Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Black Women in Corporate America. I'm your host, Nicole S. Palmer. Happy to have you here. In case this is your first episode, hello, welcome. In case you may not know who I am the author of Playing the Game While Black Women in Corporate America and also the show creator and host of Black Women in Corporate America, which is available wherever your podcasts are sold. Not really, they're not sold, but you get what I'm saying. Doesn't flow as smoothly as if you say wherever you get your podcasts, or maybe it does. I'll play around with it for the next episode. So here we are back again with another installment of Black Women in Corporate America, and today I actually want to talk a little bit about an origin story of sorts. And I've been thinking about all of the DEI rollbacks and everything that's going on right now, being a hot mess, let's be clear about that, and wanting to really provide some tangible steps that you can take if you are finding yourself in the middle of this hot garbage that is the DEI rollbacks, because I know that despite the fact that DEI has disproportionately benefited white women, it will disproportionately disadvantage black women. Them's just the facts, unfortunately, folks. And so I sat here and really thought about what I wanted to share with you all, because I know that right now, and obviously I don't know every single corner of the interwebs, so I can't speak for everything that's happening, but I know that there has been, I think a lot of focus is on the actual rollbacks, but I really want to talk about if you are on the receiving end of this rollback. Maybe you lost your employment, maybe you lost your federal contract that you expected. I had seen a story on LinkedIn where it was moments before this woman was going to host a workshop, a DEI workshop for a federal agency, and it was canceled. I think it was like an hour before or something like that, which is just bananas to me. Like and maybe I talked about this on last episode, but I feel like I wrote about it, not talked about it. What's fascinating to me is how quickly, like the speed of these rollbacks, like y'all were just waiting for somebody to tell y'all we off that. That's disturbing. It is disturbing to me how quickly people ran to implement these changes. Maybe it's just me, but I find it fascinating. And I talked to my publicist about this because, child, we are having a time right now. And just thinking about how interesting it is, or how worried people are about the backlash, that they don't want to talk about topics that are blackity black. Or as I like to say, blick. Yeah, when it's like black, it's blick. And if you know, you know, don't ask me. So it's interesting how nervous and skittish people are because of the rollbacks. And so essentially topics and books like Playing the Game While Black Women in Corporate America are kind of radioactive. Not in black spaces, kind of, but in other spaces. And it's really because people are worried about their livelihood. And I get that. And honestly, it also reminds me of, and I told y'all, like, I think like a couple episodes ago, maybe like 6 or 7. I think it was episode 5. Go check it out. I'll try to put it in if you're watching this on YouTube or listening to this on YouTube, I'll put it in as a card so you guys can link out to it. And if my brain reminds me, I will also add it to the description in the podcast episode details. So I talked to you all about the different types of relationships that you can have in your life. And some relationships are out of convenience. Some are situational. Some are, I had broken it down, but my point is that the one that I really was focused on is one particular relationship that I have that is very much situational in terms of, as long as it doesn't cost them anything, it's fine. And so I think we're seeing a lot of that emerge where folks are coming to grips with the fact that I can only be an ally if it's not going to cost me my livelihood. We're seeing that come up time and again, and it can be very shocking and jarring. I'm not even going to lie to you, especially if you're not used to seeing that happen. Me personally, nothing surprises me anymore. I'll be really honest, and I'll say as it pertains to things that happen in my life. Sometimes they make me go, huh. Generally speaking, people don't really surprise me that much, and I think it's because partly I'm a very cynical person, and so it doesn't totally surprise me when people revert to who they are. And I had a colleague of mine that actually had a conversation similar to this way before all this went down. And one of the things that we talked about and they had mentioned was that at the end of the day, white people always been white people. And he wasn't saying that in a disparaging way, but he was saying it related to the context of situations where you think that they're in the trenches with you, and then at the end of the day, when the rubber meets the road and they got to make a decision, they're going to look out for number one, and that's just the reality. So we can't sit here and be clutching our pearls. We don't have time to sit here and be outraged about what's happening across the country, because we gotta work, we gotta put in work. And that's actually some of the things I want to talk about in this episode, and honestly I'm really excited to share some of these things with you. Some of it is kind of early release, and I won't go into too much detail because it's still in the works, but we finna make a splash. I'm just saying. I'm excited, and more on that later. But back to where we are, especially for Black women, especially Black women like me. I know y'all are out there, and when I say that, I mean the outspoken, overachieving, just overperforming, all of the overs. Girl, I see you, and I know that it is difficult right now, especially because it really goes back to what I said about writing checks with your mouth that your butt can't cash. We are quick to say the thing we probably should not say out loud. And the reality of it is, when you're speaking truth to power, it often comes with consequences. And I have seen it happen time and again. My last corporate consequence, in fact, happened in early last year. It throws me off to think that it's already 2025. But my last consequence definitely happened last year. Actually, late last year, not early last year. It was late last year, where I said the thing out loud that just made total sense to me, and I lost my job. It was literally the following week. It wasn't even maybe a few weeks. It was the following week. I said something to my supervisor, and they didn't appreciate that I had the nerve to call it out. And they were like, okay, I got you. So I know there's a lot of us out here that are writing checks with our mouth that our butt can't cash. And I more than anyone else appreciate standing on business, but there's a time and a place for everything. And we got to be real about what's happening right now. I'm going to take it all the way back to the time where the horrid time in history where we were enslaved as a people, and we had marvelous activists and actual abolitionists and freedom fighters that were out there in the trenches doing the work. Let's take Harriet Tubman, for example. There was a lot of stuff, I'm sure, like, I'm just going to picture it in my mind's eye. Because, to do something like that, to be that brazen, to create the Underground Railroad, you got to be with it. And you got to be that overperformer. So you can imagine Harriet Tubman out here just overperforming, doing all of the things. Do you think she was out here running her mouth off to the powers that be and talking all that junk, talking about that's why I'm stealing half your people? She wasn't doing none of that, y'all. Like, let's be real about it, because there would be consequences. And so what I'm saying to us all right now, and not because it's right, like, let's be clear that it is not right. It is not right that we have to make ourselves small. It is not right that we have to bite our tongues. It is not right that we have to play the game. It's just what it is. I saw a clip the other day on LinkedIn from this young lady, a black young lady, who said that corporate America ain't for us. I'm just boiling it down, very, very distilling it down to essentially what she was saying. That for black women, corporate America just doesn't work, because you have to be a different version of yourself. You have to be fake and all these things. And I don't fully disagree with her. What I do disagree with is that you can't still succeed in corporate America while being true to yourself. And I know that might sound difficult to say, but I'm going to take it back to, I'm going to go biblical on y'all and take it back to this verse in the Bible that says, and I'm not going to get the exact quote right, but it's pretty close, that you don't let your right hand know what your left hand is doing. And that sounds crazy to say, right? It's like, well, what are you talking about? How would my right hand not know what my left hand is doing? They're both part of my body. But it really comes down to being more discreet. Sometimes everything don't need to be said. I'm just saying, like, I look back, I play the tape on my own corporate life, and I look back at, and I know every single moment that I said the thing that got me in trouble that I shouldn't have said. And sure, it felt good in the moment, but at the end of the day, there were massive consequences for each time I decided to speak up. And you have to get to a place where you don't allow those things to impact your end goal. And there's absolutely a way that you can survive and thrive and excel in corporate America as a black woman while still being true to yourself. I do it now. I'm still very much in corporate America. And it's not about being fake, it's about detaching yourself. And I talked about that, I believe, a few episodes back. It's about emotional detachment. It will save your life, 100%. I have landed successful contracts, still in corporate America now, because I have chosen to engage with corporate America on very different terms. And it's working phenomenally well for me. And I say all that to say, because I started saying, okay, I'm going to give you some practical, tangible things you can do in the height or the light of DEI rollbacks. I'm highly encouraging you all to pivot. And what does that mean? It doesn't mean you abandon DEI. It just means right now, if you are one of those individuals that have been affected by DEI, you're going to have to find another income source. That's just the reality of it. So how do you do that? It's not about going back to school and starting over from scratch. It's about teasing out all of those skills that you have within your resume from your past experiences and packaging them in a way that you can land something else. Hey everyone, today's Spotlight is brought to you by Delnick Media. Want to highlight and shout out one of my absolute favorite people on LinkedIn, Leah Vernon. She is a social media influencer, an author, and a body positive activist. So Leah, if you don't know who she is, please go support her and follow her on LinkedIn. And I'm sure she is on multiple other platforms. She is amazing. I found her on LinkedIn and loved her immediately. She tells us about the moisturized brands versus the ashy ones. And if you know, go check her out. She is amazing. International plus size model. She's an award-winning author, an inclusive content creator. She is all of the things, has multiple million views across all of her platforms. She's been on Times Square, y'all. She's legit. And one thing that I love about her more than anything is that she is so real and down to earth. And I say that because, honestly, it's rare where you have people of that caliber that are doing the work that they're doing still take time to connect with their supporters. I think that's super cool. I love that about her. I love her attitude. I love how funny she is and just so real. And she's always posting. She posts to LinkedIn every single day. So if you're on LinkedIn, you need her on your feed. You need her to put some moisture on your feed and make it a lot less ashy. I'm just saying. She's amazing. She is hilarious. And she's always a supporter of hiring Black women. I'm all about that. So Leah Vernon, girl, shout out to you. You're amazing. Please keep doing the thing. And I can't wait to see what you do next. Thanks again for joining me on today's Spotlight, brought to you by Delnick Media. For example, right now, although I am very outspoken and vocal about these issues in this space, as for example, right now, although I'm very vocal about that within my sphere of influence, let's call it, I don't discuss these issues at my corporate job, at the day job, if you will. But the day job 100% pays the bills. And what I do at the day job has absolutely nothing to do with my business. It's kind of very tangentially related because it is one of the skills that I have. And if you want to know what that is, go check out my other podcast. But I have been able to utilize my skills that I've accumulated over the years to land work in corporate America that has very little to do, and by saying very little, I'll say the subject matter. I'll put it that way. It's not that the skills that I use at the day job I don't use as on my business, but it's just that they're not intricately related, if that makes sense. So with everything that was going on, I was able to utilize those skills that I have to land opportunities. And even though things fell apart at my last role, because I have those skills, I was able to bounce back into another opportunity. And so what I'm recommending is you take a look at some of the administrative skills you have, some of those, not just soft skills, but like those hard skills, like maybe you're a really fast typist, maybe you have a lot of skills in Excel or other Microsoft programs, maybe you're just really good with software. Take a look and then do an audit of those skills and parlay that into another opportunity, a non-DEI opportunity to ride the wave for now. One thing you can do, especially if you're not necessarily interested in going in full-time committing to corporate America, something else that has been a lifesaver for me, agency work. Highly recommend that because with agencies, as it implies, you work through an agency, you have an agent, and the agent will place you at a company. So it even gives you, even that in itself gives you a detachment from the company itself. Do you get what I'm saying? So you're there to do a job. you don't have, and this is the other beauty of agency work, you don't gotta make friends. You don't have to make no friends. I ain't got no friends at my job. None of my day job. I have colleagues. I have peers. But I ain't got no friends, and that is by design, and I'm loving life to the fullest. I can't tell you how freeing it is to not have any work entanglements. It is the most marvelous thing that I could have ever done for myself, and honestly, I wish I'd done it sooner, because I get paid well. Yes, I get paid very well to do a job, and 5 p.m. comes, promise you I'm the first one out. Ain't no more hanging out, ain't no more going above and beyond. I'm there to do a job, I do my job, and I roll out. That's it, that's all, okay? And the other thing that I have done that is also been very helpful, that is very connected, and that's why I'm mentioning it, that I highly recommend, is upping my freelance work, building out your freelance client base. So if you have a skill set, in my case, I'm a kick-ass editor. You can parlay that into a lot of freelance opportunities. Sure, you can go through Upwork. There's a lot of places you can go to. And honestly, I'm gonna just do a shameless plug for my other podcast. It's called Feast, Famine, and Freelancing. Go check it out, because if you're looking to break into freelancing, a lot of great resources there. And I will actually make a lot of those clips available on my channel, Nicole S. Palmer on YouTube. So if you're trying to break into freelancing, I've got a bunch of episodes you can check out that will be absolutely helpful to you. So I'm going to link the channel to this video right here if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're not watching this on YouTube, I will do my best. I say that, so I always couch it, because God knows sometimes my brain. So I will try to include the link as well in the description. If you're trying to break into freelancing, and you don't have to be an editor, you can, whatever skills you have, you can parlay that into freelancing. And there's a lot of resources available that you can use, especially in the middle. If you're trying to recoup some money real quick, or make some extra money, lots of resources you can use. I talk about a lot of that on there with my co-host. So check that out, because it can be very useful to you. So if you got any skills, whether it's editing, writing, whatever it is that you've been doing on your day job, or used to do, or still do for yourself, you can use that to land a freelance role. And what I always recommend to folks is, as much as possible, try to land those roles through agencies. And yes, you can absolutely land freelance roles through agencies. And the reason I say that is because it gives you a little bit more stability with the frequency of the work. Plus the vetting, they do that part for you. It just makes it a lot less hectic and a lot less hassle. So if you can, try to do your freelance assignments or contracts through an agency. You don't have to. Of course, the other downside to that is that if you do that, they're going to get a cut, and it's going to be a significant cut. Typically, it's about 50% of whatever you're making. So, and I mean that they're going to take the shave off the top. So if you're making $50 an hour, they're making $50 an hour. That's typically the way you see it. Sometimes some agencies will go a little bit low on their cut to make sure you have the hourly rate that you're looking for. But generally speaking, they're going to get the same amount you're getting per hour, they're getting per hour is typically how it works. So agencies can work really well when it comes to landing some good clients and some lucrative contracts. I actually just got an opportunity through an agency, doing freelance work. So as it implies, it's typically not going to be full-time, and that could also offer you some flexibility if you're looking to still have some control over your workday. The other really nice benefit, and this is what I'm pushing for agency work and freelancing through an agency, is most agencies will pay you every week. Yes, Lord. So that is coin in your pocket every single week. I'm trying to actually do mental inventory of all the agencies I work for. Every single agency I work for pays me every week. And I've got more than one agency, and I'll leave it there. Most agencies will pay you every week. I'm not saying that some don't work that way, but the majority of them will pay you every week. That's huge, especially if you're looking to recoup what you've lost in light of the DEI rollbacks. Having a weekly paycheck, clutch. Some agencies will even provide benefits that could also be beneficial if you're in need of benefits, especially if you lost your day job because of DEI. That's another great option that you can at least quickly recoup your benefits lost through your agency. So I just really felt like on my heart that I needed to come on here and provide something actionable, right? Because I think right now we're all reeling and we are outraged, rightfully so, about what's happening. But I wanted to give you something you could use. And so this is me giving you that. Freelancing has been a lifesaver for me. I have freelanced since 1997. Yes, all the way back. That is when I opened up my first company and had a ball, learned a lot, messed up a lot. But I would never take it back for the world. I did so much and just had the time of my life just saying, look, I want to start doing work for myself because someone told me, you're in here in this writing center and you're doing this basically for credits because I was going to school and I was helping a particular individual and they were at risk of failing out of their class, English class, and I started helping them with their papers. Did not write them, let me be very clear. I helped with their papers to help her make them better, and she started raising her grades to the point that the teacher thought that she was getting her papers written for her. True story. But anyway, she ended up doing really well in the class, and I remember this is how I started. This was my origin story into freelancing. She said, "You are so good at this, you should do this for a living." And I thought to myself, in fact, I will. And the rest is history. So yes, in 1997, after being in the Writing Center in 1996 at my college, 1997, I put out my little virtual shingle and I started accepting clients right online. And the rest is history. So I say all that to say that you can bounce back from this. I know it's garbage right now, but this is why I've always kept agency relationships and clients, because you have to be in some control of your financial and work destiny. Let's put it that way. You can't leave it up to anybody else. You just cannot, because you see what's going on right now. You see what's going on in these streets. You see it. So you cannot leave it up to chance. You cannot leave it up to anyone else. So I highly encourage you to please, if you haven't already, it's not too late. Think about freelancing. There are so many opportunities for virtual assistants. Yes, maybe you were a director, maybe you were a senior manager, maybe you were even higher and now you find yourself unemployed. There is no shame in picking up a virtual assistant role. In fact, you probably get snatched up quick as an executive assistant. There are so many opportunities that you can parlay your roles, translate those skills over to those opportunities and be highly sought after. And there are way too many resources out there that you can consider and use. So please take advantage of them. Please check out my podcast. And I'm not saying this to do a self-aggrandizing promotion, but it's a resource that you can use. And you have some very substantial ways that you can find a freelance opportunity, that you can optimize your resume. I talk about all of those things on there. So please check that out. Again, my goal is to start adding those clips from that podcast into my channel at Nicole S. Palmer. Just try as much as possible to leverage what you already have. You're already working with a lot. If you were doing a lot of writing content, reviewing, revising, that's translatable. You can pick up a role as a writer or an editor or a proofreader. These are all opportunities that are always in demand. There are always companies looking for individuals to write content, to review content, to proofread content. So that is something that is, in my opinion, a very recession-proof opportunity. So you can absolutely push forward in that. And I also find I have no data backing this up. This is 100% anecdotal. I have not had any issues as a Black woman landing lucrative contracts in this space because they don't care. For the most part, these companies don't care about the color of your skin or your gender. They just care about your experience and results. And I also find that the entry point is a lot easier when you're going through an agency, and it's also a quick way to screen. You get what I'm saying? So if there's going to be a problem, you won't even get to the interview stage before that is found out, because the agency will screen you. They're going to know right off the bat whether or not you'll be a good fit. And so you don't have that worry, because I'm be honest with you, when I apply to jobs, when I have applied to jobs in the past, because I don't do that no more. When I have applied to jobs in the past, I was always super apprehensive because I don't have what one would call a Black sounding name. I mean, my name is pretty vanilla. And I've also been told I don't really sound Black, which is that's a topic for another day. So because of those things, I found myself and they have borne out to be true, to be clear. So I have been told multiple times over the course of my life that I don't sound Black. Like if you talk to me on the phone, I don't sound Black. And also with my name the way that it is, it's not really a Black sounding name. And so what happens a lot of times is I'll screen over the phone, everything goes really well. Then your girl shows up at the interview and they're like, wait a minute, you're Nicole Palmer? You're the person we talked on the phone? Oh, this is awkward. And you can see it on their face immediately. That is not what they thought they were signing up for. So I know the pain and the anxiety behind applying for a role, getting a call back, and then wondering what's going to happen when you get to the interview stage. I have 100% been there. And I will say that now, like I said, in light of everything that is happening, I have just recently landed freelance contracts easily for clients, for some big conglomerates, I will say. And my race was not an issue. And it's crazy that we have to say that in the year of our Lord 2025, but that's where we are. So if you have some editing, writing, proofreading skills, highly recommend you take advantage of any of those three. There's a dearth of opportunities. I'm gonna actually try to do more of that because I want to help us get ahead and do better. So I just wanted to share that with you all because I think we need to be right now in solution mode. And it might not necessarily be the best solution, but at least this is what I would call a meantime solution. That's what I like to call them. It's not going to fix the problem, but in the meantime, it's going to help you out. So I just want to put that out there because I know there's a lot of us hurting right now. A lot of us are struggling. you can absolutely pivot. You can absolutely translate your current skills into something else. And it could be a lot of something else's. The other thing that is great that I've seen a lot of is thankfully resources from Black organizations or that are offering opportunities. So all hope is not lost, y'all. I think this is the best time for all of us to really lean in and help each other out, because that's the only way we're going to get ahead, guys. This is 100%, I'm telling you, this is 100% a group project. And it is the most critical group project of our lives. And if we don't do it together, we're not going to make it, guys. And that's just the reality of it. This has always been a group project. This has always been a group project. And the majority of us have to decide as a people that we are going to come together and forge ahead together. That's how we make it out of this. Point blank, period. So that's my little spiel for today. I did allude to the fact that I was going to drop an update / announcement. We're going to hold off on that one because I want to keep this episode fairly short and sweet, and I'm right around the 30-minute mark. So we'll come back to that. Yeah, we've got some good, exciting things coming up ahead. One thing I do want to share is in a couple of days, by the end of this week, my book, Playing the Game While Black Women in Corporate America, will be available everywhere. Yes, my official exclusive contract with Amazon ends on February 18th. So I've already taken the steps to upload my book into a different platform, and it will be distributed broadly. So if you're not into Amazon because they're doing the most right now, I got you. My book will be available to you outside of Amazon. So please support a sister, okay? Look, I'm out here doing the thing. I'm out here giving y'all some stuff you can use, some valuable nuggets. Please support me, people. Please support me. Please like, share, and subscribe. This episode, all the others, share my work broadly. Help a sister get ahead. Come on now. You know you want to. Help me, help you. All right? So that's all I got for right now. Thank you for joining me for another episode. Please come back next week, same time, same station. And until next time, take care.